pieces getting put in place. Graves from Edmonton, Mark Messier from Edmonton. Memories from 1991-92. As we celebrate the New York Rangers' birth of a champion, the captain and Mike Richter will join us in the vault. Welcome back to the Vault. I'm Al Trewick. Think about your favorite championship team in any sport, and you'll remember a wide variety of players acquired in a variety of circumstances that came together to be the best of the best. For the 1994 Rangers, that was exactly their story. The birth of a champion started with the drafting of Mike Richter and Brian Leetch, and then they had to wait, as the economic weight of winning 5 Stanley Cups weighed a toll on the Edmonton Oilers to the point where the team had to be torn apart. Wayne Gretzky would be traded to Los Angeles, and as the 1991 season began for the New York Rangers, Mark Messier was still just a rumor. But they had acquired Adam Graves, and as the season began, he would wear number 11. As we get started here in the Vault.
As you all know, there's been a lot of talk about a possible trade for Mark Messier. It's been in all the papers, it's been talked about, it's been rumored about. At times it looked very hot. Right now, John, how close do you think it is?
Well, my feeling, Sam, is if the Rangers can put it together, they should do it. I think it's become the great hockey debate in New York, and people that are great hockey fans in New York have some worries about giving up youth and have some worries about it being a trade where an older player comes. He's 30 years of age. My feeling is, I don't think over the last decade there's been a better on-off the ice leader off the ice and on the ice in the league. Gretzky's been a great player, but Messier gives the fire. He would become instantly your best player and your best leader. And on top of all this, he wants to come to New York bad to become a New York Ranger and be a team leader. And when one of the best players in the world wants to do that, open the door, get him in the building.
Looking back at the birth of a champion here in the Vault, you can see it almost perfectly orchestrated as it came together, and one of those was a draft pick by the name of Mike Richter. What is your memory of 1991 and Adam Graves walking in, the Edmonton Oilers dynasty being dissolved, and the rumors of Mark Messier and soon Jeff Beukeboom? What do you think back of?
I think then is the beginning of some stability for the Rangers organization. So when Neil Smith took over, hired Roger Neilson as coach, it was just a different mentality. It seemed like a breath of fresh air in some ways. There were great people. Phil Esposito, I owe a lot to, as we said. I mean, he got my career going. But there was so much change. And here you have these young guys and a really well-regarded executive coming in. The Rangers have this whole new vision, and we're going to go with some young guys, which hasn't happened in a little while in New York. But you do. You're speckled with Darren Turcotte and Brian Leetch. And now you have Adam Graves, Tony Granato. I mean, these are good players. I think Tony then was leaving at that point, but you have to give up something to get something. And then you hear this rumor that Mark Messier is coming, and now you're adding some incredible veteran talent to this young group, and now you have something that's really interesting.
Tonight, Rangers open with Bernie Nichols, Mike Gartner, Tony Amonte, Brian Leetch, and David Shaw, and we're underway in the 1991-92 season. Ray Bourque back for the puck, sending it up the boards. Craig Janney, number 23, with Bobby Carpenter, number 11 on the left side, Peter Duras, number 16 on the right. Gartner takes out Carpenter. Shaw tied up by Duras. Gartner takes the puck. Bernie Nichols, Tony Amonte to the right side. Amonte, the Boston native, turns, feed to Leetch coming down. Leetch shoots, it's deflected by Bourque. Bourque takes out Nichols along the boards. Bourque goes for the loose puck. Bourque is paired with Glenn Wesley, number 26 on defense, who just signed a one-year contract after being a holdout early in training camp. Van Beesbrook waiting for a whistle, finally gets one.
The Rangers penalty killing last season was number 13 overall. It's been average for 2 seasons straight, and the Rangers are hoping that with Nemchinov and Graves, who you see on the ice now, that will help them become a better penalty killing unit.
Sorella and Moeller paired on defense. Moeller playing the left side. Bourque quarterbacking the power play. Sending it to Craig Janney. Janney, Ruzicka, and Carpenter up front. Ruzicka, number 38. Ruzicka had scored well in the playoffs, but has been a very inconsistent offensive performer. Scored his only goal in preseason in their last preseason game.
This is Randy Moeller's first action in a game this season, including exhibition.
Taken away by Graves, and he fires it down the ice. Graves, Nemchinov, Moeller, and Sorella.
That unit went,
change.
I'm sorry, Sam, that unit went 40 seconds and never gave up a shot on goal.
You talked about so many LaFontaine rumors. There's a new one that you heard about today?
I've heard another one that Buffalo was involved, and maybe Turgeon going the other way from Buffalo. And then I've heard Chicago is very interested in Patty LaFontaine. Who knows? They're flying right now.
Wesley and Bourque at the points. Ruzicka with the puck. Carpenter and Janney up front with him. Ruzicka to Bourque. Wesley, they're moving the puck well. Wrist shot, save Van Beesbrook. Just got a piece of it. 20 seconds to go on the power play. Wesley ties up Jody Hull. Sorella in the corner against Carpenter. Out to Bourque. Score! Rangers go on to Montreal. We'll play the Canadiens on Saturday night. We'll be on the air on MSG Network at 8 o'clock. And then the home opener is Monday night at Madison Square Garden. The Rangers and these same Boston Bruins, who will be wearing their old-time uniforms. We'll be on the air at 7 o'clock on Monday night with Rangers Game Night. Ruzicka scores! Quick snapshot by Vladimir Ruzicka gives the Bruins a 5-3 lead. I don't know if Neil Smith is talking to Herb Pinder or just who he's talking with.
Could be Herb Pinder, it could be Glenn Sather, it could be to find out what happened to Joe Sorella, who has missed this third period. Or maybe it's pizza time, who knows?
That's too early for pizza time.
No, I don't think he'd want to eat right now. A 5-3 Boston lead with 8:17 remaining here in this third period.
Is that a negotiation look or what? What do you think?
And we'll have more in the vault after this.
I had worn number 11 for one game in Boston. Obviously, Mark came. He wore it in Montreal, and then I was given number 9 because it became vacant after the trade. And I guess, to make a long story short, it was a long 2 weeks.
Looking back at the birth of a champion here in the vault, it's the first year for Mark Messier and Adam Graves. Not everything was smooth for you in the contract department, so you're starting to learn about the business of hockey at this particular point, right?
Yeah, and what's interesting looking back is, Neil Smith is no dummy. He's looking to try to get Mark Messier. He's coming up, and the whole league's looking at this. And so I'm going through my own little contract thing. My contract, as we said, expired during training camp that year. I'd come from the World Cup, the Canada Cup in '91, and so I was feeling great. I had played a lot of hockey, and that night, the night before the opening game in Boston, my contract, I did not have a contract going into the year. And I think in retrospect, they're trying to nail down Mark Messier, and that was a big deal. So I'm kind of lower in the pecking order, obviously, and so my contract didn't come in. Roger Nielsen said, you're starting tomorrow night, opening game in Boston, but understand you got to do what you have to do. If your contract's not valid, not signed, if you don't have an agreement, you're not even allowed to travel with the team. I'm not allowed to be on the bench for legal reasons. So I was, what? So I practiced with the team. We were all playing. We went through training camp. And that night, when I didn't have a contract, then Johnny was starting and went on to play a couple good games. Mark signs in Montreal. Everything seemed to change. We feel like there's this potential there with Adam coming in and this whole kind of new feel. And you have these great players coming from Edmonton. But Mark Messier, funny, you look at it now, he's 31. And everybody thinks this guy's so old. But he was still young and had a lot of great years of hockey in him. But everybody was excited to just be with him in the locker room, and that really started a whole different mentality with the organization.
To a lot of people, Montreal is the home office for hockey, and for the New York Rangers, a perfect place to announce the acquisition of their new captain.
You all know the accolades that I could throw around the room: 5 Stanley Cups, 3 Canada Cups, MVP in the National Hockey League in 1990. I don't need to repeat all those things. It's just a thrill for the New York Rangers to have Mark Messier as part of their team, part of the organization. He brings with him the character, the leadership, qualities that we've been looking for, and probably more than we've been looking for. So I welcome Mark Messier.
The welcome that the Rangers have given me has been fantastic. Again, I'm just really looking forward to the challenge of coming to New York and starting a so-called second career, and I'm every bit as confident the second career is going to be as good as the first one.
But he knows how to win, and we're looking to him for that leadership, and I'm sure every player on the team is looking for. I know Adam Graves hasn't stopped grinning since it was announced, and he knows the impact that that Mark will have on the team?
You know, at this point in my career, I think that more so than the things going off the ice, I think the most important to me are the things that are going on the ice, and I think that the Rangers are certainly one of the teams that were able to had something to give the Oilers in return to acquire me, and I think that and when I looked at the situation, I really thought the Rangers have a great young team, and if I can come here and contribute in any way, I'm looking forward to doing that. The Oilers, you know, had offered me a pretty substantial contract that I probably would have been happy with, but I just think that, you know what, being 12, I've played 12 years there, and it was going to be sooner or later, and I just thought it would be best to do it now, and I think both myself and the Oilers recognize that fact, and I think we were able to come to this terms. I was in a lot better shape 2.5 weeks ago after the Canada Cup, but I'd basically done the same workout that I've been doing for the 3 months prior to the Canada Cup, so I feel pretty confident I'll be able to get on the ice and within a week be able to be playing up to normal. But tomorrow night might be a little iffy for the first couple of shifts, but I think I can get through that.
So no training camp with the New York Rangers. One game into the season for Mark Messier with the New York Rangers, yet there was something about his approach that told you if it was ever not going to be that big of a deal, it was not going to be a big deal for him. What did you learn about that approach that he brought?
No, I think he's just such a professional. And, you know, something's really different. I remember when Bernie Nichols came to the team, you have a legitimate goal scorer. This is a big name, and everybody was excited. But Mark Messier, you have a Hall of Famer. He's already going to the Hall of Fame. If he ended his career right there, he was already an established, one of the best ever hockey players. And now you have this guy coming into your locker room. And I mean, it was exciting. I told Neil after I signed the contract and I joined the team in Montreal, I said I would have signed for free if I knew he was going to be on the team. We had a good laugh at that, but it was that type of excitement around the organization. This is a big deal. Mark had played there his whole life, and now this tremendous player is coming to New York. And we started believing that, you know, we have a team here with some really good components. Can we put this thing together? You have a young executive in Neil. They're getting good talent. We have some young guys coming up. And you have this guy coming in your locker room. And I can remember just guys, it can be almost a disruption because guys were looking at him and not making normal passes. That, you know, every time they get a puck, they give it to Mark, and they see how he operates in practice. I don't want to make too big of a deal of this, but you have to understand, this guy was an icon in hockey already, and he's coming into our locker room. And I can just remember how excited the entire bus was, you know, going to the first game, first practice, and it really changed how we felt about ourselves as an organization.
He demanded that you do things the right way. If you didn't, you got the look, and the look was trouble. Here is Mark Messier's New York Ranger debut.
Update on Mike Richter. The word from General Manager Neil Smith is he will speak with Herb Pinder, Mike Richter's agent, via phone later tonight. He hopes to have a deal agreed to sometime tonight, maybe tomorrow. So there is optimism on that front. We're underway as Patrick Waugh leaves it for Donald Dufresne, number 34. Rangers starting with Mark Messier, centering for John O'Grodnick and Mike Gartner. David Shaw and Brian Leetch on defense. DeCarbonneau, number 21, with Mike McPhee and Russ Courtnall. McPhee, number 35, Courtnall, number 6. Donald Dufresne, number 34, on defense, along with Desjardins. Eric Desjardins, number 28. Mark Messier sending it across. Forced back by Carbonneau. DeCarbonneau, who signed a new contract. After the new hockey league, the Continental League was trying to lure him.
Joe Bacchino down, former Ranger assistant general manager Joe Bacchino down in Fort Lauderdale, actually had Carbonneau down to look at the area and offered him a deal, but the Montreal club came back with a nice offer and he signed to stay.
Sylvain Turgeon back from knee injury, which cost him most of last season. Brent Gilchrist with a quick shot that's wide. Turgeon, number 20, with Gilchrist. And Dennis Savard, number 18. Carrying the puck, Adam Graves wearing number 9. With Mark Messier taking number 11. Turgeon tied up by James Patrick. Turgeon gets to the puck. It's deflected up the boards to Peter Svoboda. Svoboda centering. Van Beesbrook got a stick on it. Savard cut to the net. Van Beesbrook able to knock it away. Alain Cote, his shot blocked. And Mark Hardy is hurt as he blocked that shot and he limps to the Rangers bench.
He can hardly put weight down on the foot where he blocked that shot.
Normand Rochefort has come on. Todd Ewan pressing him around the boards. It bounces out of the zone. Rangers have Doug Weight on with Tim Kerr and Tony Amonte. Amonte playing the left side. Patrick plays it off the boards. Skrudland couldn't keep it in. Ryan Skrudland on with Todd Ewan and Kirk Muller. Muller wearing number 11. Puck deflects out of the zone. Picked up by J.J. Daigneault, number 48. Randy Moeller. Icing is called on the Canadiens, who was sent in from the Montreal side of the red line. 12 seconds to go in the period. Put out in front. Save Van Beesbrook as Muller got to the puck and got a shot off. He takes another one that goes wide. Kept in by Desjardins. The shot goes wide. And that's it. Dangerous moments for the Rangers as they were unable to clear the puck. Canadiens pressing. Van Beesbrook coming up with a couple of excellent saves. And the play of Mark Messier, at times he's looked good. You're certainly impressed by his presence on the ice, but he too not 100% sharp. He's joining us right now in the studio. And Mark, would you agree that you're really not sharp out there?
No question about it. It's been 3 weeks since I skated, really, and you know, it's been a long layoff and traveled around the last couple of days, so to say the least, a little sluggish out there.
Mark, what do you think it is more than anything else? Is it the timing? I see on draws, the timing not quite ready. And at one time, I mentioned on the air late in the period, you appeared to be a little bit frustrated knowing how well you can play, but the timing just simply isn't there.
Well, you know, being off the ice 3 weeks, certainly the timing, but more so than that, just stamina. You know, I find myself being a shorter breath, and when you're shorter breath on the ice, you know, it's hard to really accomplish anything. So, you know, I knew coming in it wasn't going to be easy tonight, and it's going to at least take a week or so to get into top shape.
Mark, you know what people are saying and what people are expecting of you. Is it fair for people to expect what you bring to the New York Rangers, what they hope will be the leadership to the Stanley Cup?
Well, I certainly hope so. I'm certainly willing to accept that role in that of that capacity for the Rangers. You know, we've had a lot of pressure on us our whole careers in Edmonton, and I'm certainly used to that kind of pressure from the fans and the media and whatnot. And you know, we had a lot of great players in Edmonton, but I see a lot of great players here, and it's a lot of new players on the team this year, and I think it's going to take a little while for everybody to gel, but things look good.
And we'll have more of Mark Messier's debut, and no surprise to hear him embrace the challenge right away.
That's what Mark is up and down. I mean, he loves that. He's a huge personality. New York fit him perfectly.
And often the great players do things that are dramatic, as would the Rangers Canadiens and Mark Messier do in his National Hockey League debut with his new New York Rangers team.
That's one of the things that Mark really changed when he came. The idea of basically putting it out there that we're here to win a Stanley Cup, and understanding the history, understanding that you know, the 54 years and going into other arenas and hearing the 1940 chant, but more or less meeting that challenge head on.
Graves was a major piece. Messier was a major piece, and so was Mike Richter, and all their numbers are now on the roof of Madison Square Garden. But you touched on it earlier. But even for a very established player, to just think of what you would have to do to know how to react and give the puck or take the puck, or, I mean, Mark Messier's presence was huge. Did you sense that players were having a tough time? Yeah, and I talked to Tony Granato when he went to L.A. to play with Wayne Gretzky. Wayne finally said, "You're on this team because you're a great player. Go to the net, I'll get you the puck. Play the way you usually do." And Mark had to say effectively the same thing. We saw Adam when he came here, and he just had such a reverence for Mark, and we all had that same thing. But you are there in the NHL because you're a good player, so you have to play your game and let him fit into the lineup. And that was an adjustment period we had, but it was also, you know, we're looking at this guy to lead us, and he filled that void immediately. Ranger fans were so excited. They wanted to see every move, and they did that night in Montreal. Here's the third period.
Messier, Gartner, Ogrodnik, Leach, and Shaw to start the third period for the Rangers.
Sam, full marks to John Van Beesbrook for his play.
Ogrodnik gets to it. He has been real sharp. Courtnall tied up by Ogrodnik, trying to get free, kicks it free. Courtnall lost the stick. Taken away by Ogrodnik, drops it behind the net. Donald Dufresne is there, up the boards and out of the zone. Back into the Montreal zone. Now it's Dufresne.
Messier first shift, 30 seconds off the ice. That tells you about the stamina.
And Beesbrook steers the puck to James Patrick. Patrick with some room to maneuver, goes up the middle off the stick of Darren Turcotte. It's kept in by Patrick for the shot. Hit Svoboda, and it's cleared out by Skrudland. to Kirk Muller. Muller for Todd Ewen. Ewen moves in. Great play by Chris King.
That's a bad call. That's a bad call, Sam. He gets called for tripping. King hit the puck before he hit Ewen.
Patrick Waugh, 25 wins last season. Had the second best save percentage in the NHL at .906.
Remember, their best defenseman, Svoboda, was out for 20 games last year, and they still were third defensively.
McPhee lost the puck. It's kept in by Courtnall. Schneider to McPhee. Try to get it in front for Carbonell. Doug Waite takes it away and clears. 15 seconds remaining in the Montreal power play. 6:15 to go. A little miscommunication. Schneider has the puck. Gartner pressing Schneider. 5 seconds to go on the power play. Mike McPhee. Intercepted by Waite. Teams at full strength. Canadiens 0 for 4 on the power play. They attempted 2 shots. Did not get any through to the net. Doug Waite moving in. Waite all the way. Backhander. And scores! Doug Waite ties it up with 5:55 remaining in the third. A beautiful rush. And the rookie with his second NHL goal.
Large number of the Rangers fan club in attendance here, and they're cheering this one. Waite broke a play up Sam in his own zone, and then the Rangers moved up ice. And look at this effort, and you have to term this a bad goal. Second effort, he got the rebound, but from that angle, you shouldn't score.
Messier taking the faceoff against LeBeau. Rangers control. Waite takes the pass from Leach and clears the zone. 15 seconds remaining. Messier and Hull. Messier moving in. One-handed shot blocked by Waugh. Hull has the puck. Centers off a skate, stick to side. Leach was in deep. Hull in the corner, deflects across. Muller brings it out. That's it. We're going to overtime.
The Rangers put their starting lineup for overtime, and then Montreal has the right to make a change, which they did. They took advantage of their option, taking Muller and company off.
Messier with Graves and Amonte. Leach and Patrick.
Thinking offense.
Carbonell, Courtnall, and McPhee for Montreal. Bouncing puck. Courtnall trying to control. Pass off the skate of Amonte. Rangers unable to clear. Out of the corner. Carbonell. He scored. No. It hit the post.
Instant replay. Maruelli was in perfect position. Carbonell is not arguing the play. He stayed deep in the zone when the puck was up near the blue line. Smart players will do that. The puck got to him, and he moved in on the bad angle. Now, the referee has a right to appeal to see instant replay. It does not appear here as though he's going to. Van Beesbroek leaves the short side and hits the post and stays out. Oh, my, was that a close play?
Savard against Doug Waite. Waite on with Nemchinov and Hull. Rangers control. Moeller plays it up the boards. Muller gets it back to Svoboda. Into the Rangers zone they go. Rochefort against Savard. Turgeon looking for it. Rochefort moves it, gave it away to Muller. Deflected, batted behind the net by Rochefort. He ties up Muller. Savard looking for it. Hull on him. Now it's Kirk Muller turning, trying to make a pass. It's deflected. Hull staying with Savard. Puck is still loose. It's in the corner. Moeller is there, moves it up, and Doug Waite comes out with it. Nemchinov moves ahead of him. Waite carries across. Waite still with it. Looking. Ogrodnik going forward. Waite controls, finds David Shaw. Toward the net, deflected wide. Rebound! Score! Sergei Nemchinov! And the Rangers win in overtime, 2-1.
It's fascinating, isn't it, Mike, looking back at this game and thinking, okay, Doug Waite was a price the Rangers had to pay to build another piece, but Sergei Nemchinov was going to be around, and you were going to be around, and you look back and know what happened.
Well, I think in this game, the young guys played so well, and Sergei Nemchinov ends up winning the game in overtime. And I think that's a mark, obviously, of a champion, and Mark in particular, Messier, that is. He made the players around him better, and everybody was so excited to play. And I remember him taking Dougie Waite under his wing, and Dougie had such a tremendous career, and it's because Dougie is that talented, but he also learned a great deal from Mark, as we all did. So it really was a new era for the Rangers, and just had so much pride, and that big personality of Mark fit perfectly with New York, and it sort of set our personality.
How'd you like being in the Vault?
Love this place. I could stay here all day.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, buddy. Thanks so much.
That's Mike Richter's take on things. The birth of a champion continues here in the Vault. We'll be joined by the captain himself, Mark Messier.
Number 9, Adam Graves.
I was lucky enough to feel it the first day that we had our home opener and Mark was introduced as the captain. I'll never forget standing on the blue line, and we mentioned this before with with Brian and Mike and all of his teammates, and having him introduced, and you really felt that energy.
Number 11, Mark Messier.
So this is a big night in the history of the New York Rangers. Mike Richter's already in, Adam Graves has been acquired, and now Mark Messier gets introduced to the Madison Square Garden crowd. This is a strange time in your career, I would imagine, but a very exciting time, too. What do you remember about this transition from Edmonton to New York?
Sad but exciting, because I was leaving a franchise that I had come into the NHL with. Obviously, tremendous success, 5 Stanley Cups. The team started to break up. Our last year, we got beaten in the semifinals against Minnesota. And I knew then it was time to move on, and obviously New York was my first choice. I asked Glenn that summer if he could arrange a possible trade to New York, and later that September, that dream came true, and I became a New York Ranger.
So the Rangers play one game without Mark Messier. Unbelievably, Adam Graves wears number 11, and as that game is being played, do you think you're going to be a Ranger, or is it still a little bit up in the air?
I'm at home in Hilton Head, coming off a Canada Cup that we played that summer. Went back to Hilton Head, didn't know what was going on, was actually on the golf course, and strangely enough, I had birdied 4 holes in a row, got the call that that the trade had come through, and walked off the golf course and got ready to fly to Montreal. But amazing set of events that transpired through that time.
Now, the Rangers love to put on a good show today. They love to put on a good show there and trumpet their history. Do you remember this procession of captains that we're about to see?
Yeah, I remember it. When I got to New York, there was a lot going on. They told me that they were going to have the former captains on the ice and what was going on, but I didn't expect the kind of reception and ovation and the kind of night that it turned into be. Actually, looking back at it now, was one of my fondest memories. And when I first came to New York, is that first game at Madison Square Garden.
Well, Mark Messier may not have expected the captains. He certainly didn't expect who was at the end of the line. Here's what happened at Madison Square Garden that night.
And now, the Rangers' newest captain, and the captain who will lead the Rangers into the 1991-92 season. He won the 1990 Hart Trophy as the NHL's MVP. A 5-time Stanley Cup champion, wearing uniform number 11, Mark Messier.
There were a long list of captains there. One was actually sort of related to you, Murray Murdoch. What was that all about?
Yeah, family relations on my mother's side. I guess he would have been my great uncle. And coming to New York, that was very exciting for us all because of his history in New York. He had won a Stanley Cup in New York. We felt we had some affiliation with New York before he even got here.
I would imagine as you're going down the line and it's Rod Gilbert and it's Barry Beck or whoever it was, this must be a little bit of a blur at this point, right?
Well, it was exciting. You know, a lot of things happened in the last 48 hours to getting it all together, to getting on the ice, and a lot of anticipation, obviously. But it was the first time that I really felt what the Garden crowd was going to be like, and the anticipation and the hope that it brought, that hopefully when I came to New York that I would be one of the guys that could help bring the Stanley Cup here. So there's really that feeling of hope in the crowd that night. And like I said earlier, to this day, it was one of my most memorable moments as a Ranger.
Do you remember being on an airplane or somewhere heading to New York thinking that I want to talk about bringing a Stanley Cup right away?
Well, I think there was a lot of things flooding through my mind on the flight here from Hilton Head, and one of them was that I knew the challenges coming to New York. I knew what the history was. I knew that they hadn't won a Stanley Cup in, 40 some odd years at this point, and I knew that it was going to be a tremendous challenge. But I felt at this time in my life, both from a professional standpoint and from a life standpoint, I was ready to come to New York, live in the city, tackle the challenges, and I felt I had enough experiences to hopefully do it, little did I realize that the challenges would be far greater than I anticipated.
On the golf course, 4 straight birdies. Flair for the dramatic. June 14th, 1994, flair for the dramatic. Opening night at Madison Square Garden, flair for the dramatic. We'll get to that as we continue with Mark Messier here in the Vault.
Well, I'll tell you that Mark got the greatest ovation I've heard in a long time at Madison Square Garden for a player the first time on the ice in a Ranger uniform. But we have to remember, too, the fans have been known to change in a hurry around here, as they do in every other city. That if you're playing well, they like you. If you're not playing well, they let you know about that, too. So New York is no different than anywhere else, but I'm sure he'll be prepared for it.
Harry Howell from a different time, and now the expectations have really grown at the Garden. Mark, you hear the roar of 18,200, that's one thing. But slowly but surely you start hearing the voices of Ranger fans one at a time where they say things to you. What kind of things were they saying to you?
You know, it's hard for me to remember that far back exactly, specifically what they're saying. But like I said, I think the general feeling was that there was a lot of hope that was coming to the Garden, and a lot of anticipation that maybe this would be the time that the Rangers could win a Stanley Cup. And a lot of encouragement, a lot of words of encouragement, and good luck.
You walk in this room, it's Roger Nielsen, it's Mike Gartner who would be a factor in this game. What did you feel about this Rangers team as a team?
Well, it was hard for me to really kind of get the feel for it that quickly. I remember coming off playing a Canada Cup that September, and so I was in fairly good shape, having not been to training camp. And just getting to Montreal, getting in the dressing room and just starting to kind of introduce myself to the players, went for the morning skate and got ourselves ready for the game. But it was too early for me to tell the kind of feeling, the overall feeling of the team at that time.
Ranger fans had a chance to celebrate their history, they had a chance to celebrate their hope, and they had a chance to celebrate at the end of this game. Let's go back and listen to Sam Rosen and John Davidson. It's the Rangers and the Boston Bruins. Mark Messier's Night 1 at the Garden.
For the game, the Bruins are 0 for 5 on the power play, and the Rangers are 0 for 3. Bruins had a 2-man advantage in the first period for 46 seconds and failed to capitalize. Mark Messier goes against Bob Sweeney for the faceoff. Messier, Ogrodnik, and Gartner. Shaw and Leach for the Rangers. Sweeney, Carpenter, and Steve Leach for the Bruins, who have Beers and Bourque on defense. Matt Del Giudice getting his first start. Here's Gartner, set up, intended for Leach, comes out of the zone. Shaw comes all the way down. This will be an icing on the Rangers. 2.5 minutes gone by in the third period. There's no score in the game. Mark Messier. Brian Leach, nice move around Hodge, goes to Ogrodnik. Now Leach, moving in, Ogrodnik, he scores! What a great rush by Leach and Ogrodnik, and the Rangers lead 1-0.
The Mark Messier line on the ice, and Brian Leach lugs the mail. Up ice he goes. He beats one man, moves the puck wide, and that's Ogrodnik on the off wing. Leach cuts through 2 other men. Nobody picked up Ogrodnik, and a little redirection in behind Del Giudice. Leach was smart enough that when he moved the puck, he kept in on the play. There's Ogrodnik beating the young Bruin netminder. 1-0 Rangers here early in the third period.
We're about to see Mark Messier have one of those defining moments in his first game with the Rangers at Madison Square Garden. But what about what you felt when you returned home to Edmonton, where so much great had been accomplished?
Well, we had done a lot of tremendous things as a team there. 5 Stanley Cups, not too bad. And I was born and raised in Edmonton, so going back there brought a lot of memories. I was playing in front of a lot of family, a lot of friends, a lot of school friends, and a lot of people that had shared those moments with me. So going back there, I really wanted to go back and play well for those reasons there, because there was a lot of pride, and I wanted to show that I was still able to play at a high level, and so I think a lot of pride comes into games like that.
Still able to play, as Mark Messier showed in his return to Edmonton, and will return to his Garden debut after this.
Diamante's got the puck now. McTavish and Bookberger. Hogwood and Lowe for Edmonton. Messier shoots, he scores! Mark Messier! It's a power play goal! And the Rangers have the lead. Messier has put the Rangers in front of his former team.
Back in the vault with Mark Messier, his debut game at Madison Square Garden. Can you believe it's 20 years ago?
It's hard to believe it's 20 years ago, and so many of the memories are so fresh in my mind, too. To this day, I can picture almost every one of the instances that we're talking about and how they transpired. So 20 years is a long time ago, but still very fresh.
Very fresh, the puck on his stick. Sam Rosen and John Davidson at Madison Square Garden.
Ogrodnik with his first from Leach and Messier at 2:43. And the Rangers have a 1-0 lead. Mark Messier now with assists in his first 2 games as a New York Ranger. Bobby Carpenter centering for Peter Duras. It goes through. That shot. Score! Bruins answer right back.
You've seen 2 great plays in this third period by 2 great defensemen. Leach on one, and then here watch Bourque. See, that's an offensive play. He jumps in, gets to this puck, and just knows Van Beesbroek's trying to recover. And there's the shot. The Bruins will attack after allowing a goal.
5-on-3 advantage for the Rangers. Patrick, Messier, Kerr, Gardner, and Leach for the Rangers. Messier controlling, sets up Patrick for the shot. Save, Deljunas. Rebound goes wide as Kerr poked at it. Messier's got it. Messier looking. Kerr set up in the slot. Kerr turns, gets the shot off, it's blocked. Messier overskates, he's got it back. 5 seconds left in the 2-man advantage. Pass across was deflected. Sweeney trying to clear, knocked down by Patrick. They force it out to center. Nyland is back on. It's a 5-on-4. 1-1 the score with 12 minutes to go in the third period. Rangers on the power play. Patrick tipping it ahead. Patrick gets to the puck, tries to get it to Gardner. Save Deljunas off the deflection by Gardner.
Oh, the Bruins thought that was offside. They're just screaming on the bench.
Kerr's pass is blocked. Pushed out of the zone. Patrick across to Leach. Leach drops it down the boards for Messier. Back to Leach. Looking, feeds Patrick. The shot, score! Mike Gardner! It's a power play. Now it's waved off.
Yes, it is.
It's waved off by Hogarth.
Oh, my. Is this a man in the goal crease again, Sam, or what?
We'll see. It could be Mike Gardner, and if it is, it's going to be a penalty.
Yes, it will be an interference penalty if that's the reason why the whistle sounded. It was, I believe, deflected by Mike Gardner, but let's look around the goal crease again here and see if somebody's in there. The point shot is what was taken in front. There's Kerr. There's nothing wrong with that, Sam. Absolutely nothing in the world wrong with that.
Unless they rule that Kerr bumped the goaltender. Let's see.
Take a look again.
And a 2-minute interference penalty.
Where's the interference?
To number 12 of the Rangers, Tim Kerr.
There was nobody in the crease from what I could see on that.
Patrick looking for the puck. Moving it up the boards. Rangers clear the zone, 18 seconds to go. Galley playing it across. Getting it back. Under 10 seconds. Moeller gets to it. And for the second consecutive game, the Rangers go to overtime with the exact same score. 1-1.
We're watching Mark Messier's debut game at Madison Square Garden, and in the minds of Ranger fans, that was the night that they could actually start dreaming of the Stanley Cup. More on the vault after this.
You see the speed of the game going one speed, and then you see one guy that's kind of faster than everyone else, and that's number 11. You know, and just his I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find anyone in any sport that is a bigger game player than that man.
You know, some people might ask you, is it really true that Adam Graves is that great a guy? And I think the answer that everyone has who's ever met him is absolutely, and maybe even more than that.
Very genuine. You know, before Adam came to New York, I played with him in Edmonton, and he was instrumental in us winning the 5th Cup in Edmonton. And so when he, unfortunately, was let go out of Edmonton and came to New York, I knew what a quality person and a great player New York was getting.
How can such a nice, soft-spoken man be such a tough hockey player?
You know, his father, a very respectful guy, and I think Adam, you know, really looked up to his dad. His dad had implemented great morals in Adam, and I think he lived the way his dad would have wanted him to. And he was genuinely that kind of guy. He was as competitive as they came, but you know, very obviously giving with his time with the fans and the people around the game. And you know, he lives his life like the old saying goes, like when nobody's watching, he's still always doing the right things. They're a great guy.
Meanwhile, Mark Messier is making his Madison Square Garden debut, and the Rangers are about to put a little ribbon on a perfect night for Rangers fans.
And Nemchinov starts overtime as the left winger for Doug Weight. Nemchinov had played center ice through the first 2 games and half of this one, but he's seen some action on the left side.
Look at this line to start. 3 first-year players, Weight, Amonte, and Nemchinov.
Now, Bourque went off right away, Sam, and he'll wait till Messier's line comes on the ice before he returns.
Oh, just missed by Weight as he was set up by Amonte. Carpenter. Drop pass offside. The drop pass was behind the blue line. Carpenter went in ahead of the play.
See, the Bruins have to make their changes first. So Bourque started overtime. The Rangers countered with the Doug Weight line. So immediately Ray Bourque went off. And they replaced him with a different defenseman, Wesley. Now the Rangers make a change. What's happened here is Sweeney has gone off the ice. Roger Nielsen waited. Now he puts Messier to go opposite Hodge. Now the defensemen right now are looking back at the bench of the Bruins saying, okay, what happens when the puck's dropped? You want us to make a quick change. You can almost bet that when the puck's dropped, if Wesley has a chance, Bourque's going to jump on the ice.
Wesley and Beers are paired. They stay on. The Rangers force it in.
Hodge has gone off, and big Sweeney has stepped on the ice for that match.
Messier to Gardner, he scores! The Rangers win in overtime again! About that.
Well, they're celebrating here in the Garden. Very few people left. I mean, overtime, and they're loving it. They're just standing and cheering.
The Rangers at 31 seconds of overtime on a goal by Mike Gartner, his first of the year and 499th of his NHL career, have beaten the Bruins 2-1, and another solid win for John Van Beesbroek. Mark Messier assisting on both goals in the game. And the Rangers are now 2-1. Back-to-back 2-1 overtime wins. Gartner from Messier at 31 seconds.
And you see the puck was put deep by the Rangers. And over there, the puck is kept alive by Mark Messier. He read the play before the puck could get moved around the boards and out of the zone. Here you see the puck backhanded around by Beers. Messier's waiting for it. Defense to offense quickly, and a snapping shot by Mike Gartner. Rangers win.
What's it like playing with Messier?
Well, it's great. Mark's such a great player, and he's got tremendous speed, and it seems to open up a lot of room for the guys that he's playing with, and I've been able to play with him the last couple of games. I played with him on different occasions in the Canada Cup a couple times in '84 and '87, a few All-Star games, and 14 years ago in the WHA with Cincinnati when he was 17 and I was 18 breaking into pro hockey. But Mark's a great player, and I just try and go where he's not.
So Mark Messier with the big assist in his first game, so he's the #1 star of the game. No, he wasn't. So it was Mike Gartner who scored. No, he wasn't. It was John Van Beesbroek. Anyway, it doesn't matter. No one was able to grasp the situation better than you. And as you look back on it, I don't know about you, but I think about Mike Gartner, not around when you won the Cup. Roger Nielsen, not around when you won the Cup. There were so many little pieces that had to be put in place to make that happen as you look back on it.
Yeah, oftentimes that is the case when a team is on its way to a Stanley Cup. You're trying to get the perfect blend of players and people in the organization that are working well together and they got the right commitment. And unfortunately, we had to change some very good people and some quality people in order to get it done. And That's always the toughest part, I think, of this game is making trades and letting people go that are good people, but maybe don't necessarily fit in the grand scheme of things or personality conflicts or whatever.
One of the most powerful quotes I heard was after the Tampa Bay Lightning won the Cup. John Tortorella marched into the locker room and said to his team, "I had no idea it was that hard to do." Winning the Cup in New York compared to Edmonton, was it harder here?
Always hard. There's just so many challenges always in a run to the Cup. Obviously, the 82 games in a regular season, the 4 playoff series that you have to win, injuries, trying to get everybody on the same page, playing for the same reasons. But I think obviously New York brought in more challenge than normal because of the history, the original 6 team, the magnitude of the city, the press. And for every great thing that our team did that year, there was always something in another year that they maybe had done as well, and it always ended in failure. So we're forever being reminded of the failures that teams before us had ended up with. And that can work on your psyche if you let it, but we were a strong enough team and a veteran enough team to overcome it.
Mark, thanks for the memories.
Thanks very much.
And our special thanks too to Mike Richter. Thanks for joining us in the vault. Definitely 1991-92, it was the year of the birth of a champion for the New York Rangers. I'm Al Trautwig. We'll see you again soon here in the vault.
It's a big thrill, you know, anytime you get the opportunity to play on a team, especially one of the original 6 in the New York Rangers with all the tradition in that, you know, and I was just looking forward to putting the jersey on and getting here, going to camp, and then the first exhibition game the other night, it was a big thrill.
I'm ecstatic about coming to the Rangers. I think that knowing the team and seeing the team and the young players that they do have, I really feel that we have a real good shot at and a good future ahead of us. So I couldn't be happier coming to the Rangers right now.